The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Race is officially included for Nashville Super Speedway, and we see a complete wreck fest, and Christian Eckes leads flag to flag and dominates and wins at Nashville. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching NASCAR Truck Series race from Nashville Super Speedway, the Rackley Roofing 200. We had quite a bit to talk about from this race. Let's go and talk about it. So for the green flag drop in today's race, Nick Sanchez, Timmy Hill, Ty Dillon, Matt Mills, and Tanner Gray would all have to go to the rear of the field, some for backup cars, some for unapproved adjustments, and some for some transmission issues. So at the start of the race, you have Stuart Friesen lead the field from the inside with Grant Enfinger on the outside, and Christian Eckes got a fantastic run and was able to pass both those guys for the race lead going down the back straightaway. Meanwhile, going to turn number 3, the first caution race would already come out on lap number 1 when Dean Thompson got turned by Mason Maggio going into turn number 3, and unfortunately Mason Massey, Brett Holmes, Timmy Hill, and Akron Orgata had nowhere to go in the wreck in the incident. A lot of drivers caught up in the wreck. Seemed like what Mason said was that Dean kind of braked in the corner. Mason just got in the back of him. Pretty big mistake right there, and a lot of cars in the back of the points especially really did not have a good day, and some were taken out. So then on the next restart, you have Christian Eckes lead the field from the inside with Stuart Friesen on the outside, and Christian Eckes got a fantastic restart and once again was able to clear for the lead. And then the next lap, another caution would then come out for Brett Holmes, who wrecked down the back straightaway and hit the back in the outside wall really hard. Unfortunately, in his day, bringing the caution out, a ton of damage on the rear, his day would come to an end. So during his caution, Nick Sanchez, Mason Maggio, Tanner Gray, and Ty Dillon all came down pit road. So then on the next restart, Christian Eckes lead the field from the inside with Stuart Friesen on the outside, and Christian Eckes got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead, and Lane Riggs jumped up to second. Meanwhile, Ty Majeski was starting to drop back a bit because he had some debris on his grill and started dropping back quite a bit and fell outside of the top 10. And meanwhile, you had Caden Honeycutt, who had a really fast truck moving toward the front. His car basically started smoking, and unfortunately, a few laps later, he would go to a garage, ending his night, sadly. Tough break for Caden. He was moving to the front. I think he would have had something for Christian Eckes. Unfortunately, his night came to end because of rear grease oil. He did come back on the racetrack for a little bit to get a few extra laps on the track for some experience, but unfortunately, Caden's night would come to an end. It really wouldn't matter, though, at the end, as coming off the final corner, Christian Eckes would win stage number 1 in dominating fashion. So then, all lead lap cars would then come down pit road, with Christian Eckes winning the race off of pit road. Stuart Friesen had a terrible pit stop, drop from 7th to 19th, and Ty Majeski dropped from 8th to 21st, with him having a terrible stop. So then on the restart, you have Christian Eckes lead the field from the inside with Corey Heim on the outside, and Christian Eckes got a fantastic restart. They don't even get to turn 1, as Taylor Gray would get turned by Ben Rhodes, who misjudged it going into turn number 1, bringing the caution out. Ben Rhodes was being already over-aggressive. He got into Bailey Curry earlier in the race, and then he just got in the back of Taylor Gray for whatever reason. Big misjudgment right there. Way too over-aggressive. I get you're trying to make the playoffs at this point, but that was a little unacceptable in my opinion. That was absolutely unnecessary, and it took Taylor Gray out of this race. So then on the next restart, we have Christian Eckes lead the field from the inside with Corey Heim on the outside, and Christian Eckes got a great restart and got the lead. But this is when the big one happens. On the restart, Chase Purdy basically got jacked up, and everyone in the front started jacking each other up, and a bunch of people got turned. Chase Purdy ran in the back by Clint Bowyers, making his return to the Truck Series, and Dawson Graham ended up spinning out after some contact. I think it was from Connor Jones or somebody behind him, got in the back of him or brought the caution out. Just a misjudgment by a lot of people. The leader controls the restart, playing some restart games, unfortunately. Took out some really good cars. Dawson was having a very good run, who replaced Thad Mott for this race, by the way. This hurt his chances, and Clint Bowyer and Chase Purdy got a ton of damage on their trucks because of that. So then on the restart, you have Christian Eckes lead the field from the inside with Lane Riggs on the outside, and Christian Eckes got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. Meanwhile, Frankie Muniz was on pit road with the hood up on his truck, and unfortunately his day would come to end, making his Truck Series debut earlier this evening. His night would come to an end. Meanwhile, you had basically a feud that started between Stephen Parsons and Lane Riggs during a few laps. First, Stephen Parsons got into lane a couple times, and then eventually in turn number 3, Lane Riggs basically paid him back going to turn number 3, spinning him out into the outside wall, bringing the caution out. Because of this, NASCAR made the decision at that particular point to penalize Lane Riggs for 2 laps, despite the fact that Lane Riggs was the one who was getting wrecked by them. They were wrecking each other. There were just nearly wrecking between both those guys, and in my opinion, it's a little bit unacceptable racing. I haven't seen that happen since Carson Ospar last year. I know Seth Eckes brought it up on his Twitter page that basically this is the first time that's happened in a while. But basically because of that, it was a 2-lap penalty for Lane Riggs. And of course, we saw Phil Parsons defending his driver. Because of that wreck, this would end stage 2 with Christian Eckes coming off the corner and winning stage number 2. So then on the next, coming down pit road, you have Christian Eckes once again win the race off pit road with Corey Heim dropping back a ton of positions from second all the way back to 9th. Roger Croup would come out 3rd and I think jump up to almost to 2nd coming off pit road, and Grant Enfinger also had a terrible pit stop. So then on the restart, you have Christian Eckes lead the field from the inside with Roger Croup on the outside, and Christian Eckes got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. Christian Eckes would continue to dominate, and in the final caution of the race surprisingly came out lap 113 when Jack Wood would get spun by Connor Jones going to turn number 3. Connor just made a little bit of misjudgment. Jack did come down a little bit, but Connor once again proving why he probably shouldn't be in the Truck Series at this point. He turns Jack Wood and brings the yellow out. So during this caution, Stuart Friesen, Clint Boyer, Ty Majeski, Loss Allen, Dawson Sutton, Jack Wood all come down pit road while everyone else stays out. Stuart Friesen came down pit road because he had a loose left rear tire. So then on the final restart, you had Christian Eckes lead the field from the inside with Daniel Dye on the outside, and Christian Eckes got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead with Daniel Dye jumping up to 2nd. Christian Eckes continued to dominate, and during this time, you had Matt Crafton come down pit road because he had a loose wheel, and unfortunately, his chance of contending for a playoff spot likely might have come to an end. Meanwhile, around 10 laps to go, Clint Boyer got in the back of Lane Riggs, nearly spun him out, but was able to continue going. Christian Eckes would continue dominating. They tried to close at the end. As it came to the white flag, though, Christian Eckes had a massive lead over 2.5 seconds over Daniel Dye. He pulls out the pretty big lead, and coming out the final corner on the last lap, Christian Eckes picks up his 3rd win of the 2024 season, picks up another domination, and becomes the first driver to lead flag to flag since Timothy Peters back in 2012 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Complete domination by Christian Eckes. He no doubt had the fastest car. There was only one point in this race where I think someone could have challenged him, and that was near the end of stage 2 when Corey Heim was catching Christian a little bit. But outside of that, this was the most dominant performance I've seen from Christian Eckes ever. That 19 was extremely strong, and I think that's a huge statement win for Christian Eckes, especially going into the playoffs. He dominated, got a lot of playoff points, and goes into the next race with a lot of confidence. The 3rd win of the year, he's looked extremely strong. He's been Corey Heim's biggest threat for the championship all year. There's also talk conversations about him potentially going to front row next year a little bit. Once again, though, congratulations to Christian Eckes, a big stand-up performance. Congratulations to him on picking up his 3rd win of 2024, an absolute ass-kicking and dominant performance by Christian Eckes. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at the race results. I'll give you my score and thoughts on tonight's race. So Christian Eckes picks up the victory. Daniel Dye finishes 2nd. 100% the best race I've ever seen him run in the Truck Series and probably in NASCAR's top 3 divisions. He ran top 5 all night long. He got better as the race progressed and was actually catching Christian Eckes near the end of the event. This is the first time he's ever finished in the top 5. He did an absolute amazing and great job. A really awesome performance. Going to help him have a chance and opportunity to make the playoffs. Fantastic run for Daniel Dye. He finished 2nd. Corey Heim finished 3rd. Again, a very solid performance. I picked him coming into this race. I really thought Corey was going to be the guy to beat. But still, 3rd place, fantastic run for Corey. He's been extremely consistent this year. Great night for him. He finished 3rd, a great comeback after the pit stop issues. Roger Croup finished 4th. Fantastic run for Roger. Ran top 5 the whole entire race. It was only, I think, maybe a couple laps outside the top 5 the whole night. This is a big bounce back run for him as well, considering the fact that Roger has been very inconsistent the last few weeks, so it's not all been his fault. A great recovery performance for him, finishing the top 5. It's a good track for him. Congratulations on a good run for Roger Croup. Tyler Ankrum finished 5th. Another solid performance for another McAnally truck. He's been kind of quiet these last few weeks, so good to see Tyler Ankrum come back to the Truck Series and finish in the top 5. Great run for him in 5th place. Grant Enfinger finished 6th. I expected Grant to be a threat for the win. They never had the pace speed to contend for the win and victory, but still a very solid performance in 6th. Great run for Grant Enfinger to finish inside the top 10. Ben Rhodes finished 7th despite the fact he's over-aggressive. A solid run for him to run inside the top 10. Good night for him. He finishes in 7th. Matt Mills finishes 8th. One of his best runs of the year. ran top 10 at the end. I was really shocked to see him up front. I think he's only had one top 10 altogether this year. I expected him to struggle. He bounced back tonight. Great run for Matt Mills in 8th place. Ty Majeski finished 9th. Never had the pace or speed to contend. I'm a little surprised because he's been good at these types of tracks. I expected more from him. He does get a top 10, but a little bit of struggle night for Ty Majeski. He finishes 9th. And Jake Garcia finishes 10th. Solid night for the 13 team. Obviously, he took over Haley Deegan's truck this year. He should have done a little better than he's been doing at points this year, but it's still a very solid 9 and 10th. Good run for him. Stuart Friesen finished 11th. Qualified on the pole. Never had the pace or speed from the get-go, and they just faded back, but they do at least get a top 15 for Stuart Friesen. Connor Jones finishes 12th. I think this might be his best finish he's ever had in trucks, so hang the banner, I guess, but he's once again being over-aggressive, but he does get a top 15 finish in 12th. Nick Sanchez finished 13th, the best he ran all night. He struggled this whole entire race, ran outside the top 20 a majority of the event. I know it was a backup truck, so they couldn't get it dialed in, but it's really surprising seeing this because Nick Sanchez, since coming into trucks last year, he's generally been up front. Not a great night for him, unfortunately, but he at least does recover to get a top 15. Tanner Gray finished 14th. The damage unfortunately affected him at the end of this race and dropped outside of the top 10. Tough break, but he at least does get a top 15. Ty Dillon finished 15th. He was running top 10 at points in this race, but faded back near the end and started dropping off a clip near the end of this race. Something apparently happened because he dropped a little bit off. He finished 15th. Little disappointing once again. Not been a great year. I think he's only had 1 or 2 top 10s altogether this year when he had Matt DiBenedetto had 11 or 12. Not a great night for Ty Dillon. Jack Wood finishes 16th. Clint Boyer finished 17th. I expected Boyer to be a major threat and contender for the win, to be honest. I know he hasn't been in trucks for a while, and it just seemed like he never was really doing great tonight, to be honest. I know it's been a while since he's been back in a truck, but he's been great here in Xfinity, so I expected more from Clint tonight. It wasn't a great run, unfortunately. It was good to see him back in trucks. I'd love to see him come back for maybe one more race, but if he doesn't come back and this truly is the last race he's going to run, he was really frustrated on the radio, and his radio communication was really funny all night long. He finishes in 17th. Dawson Sutton finished 18th. Solid run for the driver of the 26 truck. Only, I think, his second ever start. He might go full-time at his team next year, potentially. He finished 18th. Brendan Queen finished 19th. Expect a little more from him, to be honest. He did run in the top 15, but struggled with the points throughout the event. A little disappointing for his standards, but a top 20 is not that bad, all things considered. And Dawson Cramp finishes 20th. Dan Moffitt was originally the driver of the C, but there's been some stuff going on behind the scenes with this organization. I think that Thad Moffitt might be out altogether. Dawson Crane finishes 20th. Chase Purdy finished 21st. Spencer Boyd finished 22nd. Matt Cratton finished 23rd after the tire issues. Lawson Allen finished 24th. Lane Race finished 25th after the 2-lap penalty. Man, if he didn't have that, he would have had a great run because he was running really good all night. Had a top 5 truck early. Got some damage on the splitter, and it just never was the same. And then they got the penalty. He finished 25th. Seven Parsons finished 26th after his issues. Timmy Hill finished 27th. Dean Thompson finishes 28th. Bailey Curry finished 29th. Akron Uragata finishes 30th. Frankie Muniz finishes 31st. Mason Massey finishes 32nd. Katie Honeycutt finishes 33rd. Taylor Gray finished 34th. Mason Maggio finishes 35th. And finishing last in 36th is Brett Holmes. So now we'll talk about the overall race as a whole. I'll give my score and thoughts on today's race. I'm going to be real and honest. This race was a little bit meh. It started off by being a wreck fest. There was a lot of cautions early in the race, and I felt like that was a little bit overkill, if you ask me. Once we got done with all the yells and the wrecking, I thought there were some good moments for sure. No one was touching Christian Eckes tonight. That 19 truck was extremely quick, and it was going to be really tough to beat him. I thought the racing throughout the field was solid. It was very difficult to pass tonight. You could definitely tell with the truck series, everything being so close together like it is in Cup as well right now. It was very, very difficult to pass. I think this race had its moments for sure, but it really wasn't that great, to be honest. I'm going to give tonight's truck series race overall at Nashville a 6 out of 10. Like I said, a dominant performance. A lot of people are not going to like that, unfortunately. I really don't have a big issue with that. Again, Christian Eckes had a dominant car. There's no one touched him. I also wasn't a big fan of the Wreck Fest. I thought it was some good racing for sure at points, but it wasn't the greatest race. I'm giving this race a 6 out of 10. So that is going to be tonight's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race review from Nashville Super Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on tonight's race. Your thoughts on tonight's race, let me know below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And congratulate Christian Eckes on putting up a dominant performance at Nashville. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have the NASCAR Xfinity Series race review from Nashville. Talk about drivers like Shane Van Gisbergen, Haley Deegan, Chandler Smith. We'll also have reactions to Cup qualifying as well. Talk about Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott. And we'll talk about a lot of other drivers this weekend. We'll have a Shane Van Gisbergen video dropping. And we're also going to have other great content dropping this weekend, including the Cup Series race review as well from Nashville. So anyways, like I said, one thing I was watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.